Welcome back, everyone. Today, I want to just go on a little discussion topic of the best way to protect your precious metals. We all are talking about building the stack up, and we want to pass it on to our next generation, so on and so forth. Protecting ourselves with money outside of the system and generational wealth. But what's that do any good if we can't actually pass it down to our loved ones? What's that look like? Welcome back to the Rural Stacker channel. Thanks for stopping in, neighbor. So I was thinking, what's the best way that we can protect our precious metals? Is it in a safe, having a security box somewhere at home? There's a big saying about if you don't hold it, you don't own it. And I kind of agree with that for sure. But I think there's even more of a discussion that needs to be had around just the practicality of it, right? I think personally, for me, the best way to protect my precious metal stack while I continue to grow it is this right here. Having some cash on hand that is outside of my checking account that I use to pay monthly bills and things that come up, right? You have to be able to have some of this, because if something does come up, a bill that you didn't plan for, or car breaks down and you need to fix it, right? It wouldn't be ideal to go and sell some of your stack to pay for that, right? Talking about an emergency fund is a good first step. I think it's actually the most important step, honestly, because what I look at this here is not only a means to trade this currency, these dollars, into precious metals, but I also use it as a hedge, a buffer, right? This is the line of defense that I can deploy to protect me from getting rid of some silver or some gold. Without this, my only option is to part with some of my precious metals. And I don't think that's a good long-term strategy. I mean, yeah, I could definitely sell some silver if I had to, or some gold, if the cost of whatever I needed to purchase was higher than what I have right here. But I don't think that's a good strategy to not have some of this and rely on getting rid of your stack. Along with this, I have nice pile there, continuing to add to it. It's a little light for what I like to have on hand. I think there's about $2,200 there right now, and yeah, that's a decent change for some. But it's not it's not even an entire month of my expenses, right? So if we're looking at 3 to 6 month emergency fund, that's definitely a little light. I'm building that up, but in the meantime, my income, my job that I have, that is another good way to protect what you have here, right? And I use that income with a budget, and that allows me to know what's coming in, what's going out, what's expected to go out, and that helps me protect from this. I don't live paycheck to paycheck, thankfully. I'm constantly investing in precious metals and stocks and retirement and all that fancy jazz, but there's also a need to have some of this on hand. I prefer to keep minimal in my checking account. It's just digital ones and zeros. Don't really think it's all that secure, but day-to-day life that we live in today seems to be that is the norm, to use plastic. Fewer and fewer places are accepting this anymore as a preferred means of payment. All right, so I have to have some in the digital game, but yeah, I think we're all aware of that. And mostly people that are into precious metal stacking, can agree it's not the ideal scenario. But this is one way to do it. The income that I can generate with my job and side hustles is another way to protect your stack. But this right here, having some dry powder ready to go, not only if you come across a good deal with silver at your local shop, you can pick it up, silver and gold, but also, it's a buffer. And I think one thing that our community doesn't talk about as much is the tool that cash allows you, the options that it gives you to be able to finance those one-off unforeseen emergencies, that you weren't really planning on, that come up. Life happens, everybody knows that it always does come up. So yeah, let me know down in the comments below, do you have a significant stash of cash? Not even significant, it's significant is relevant to each individual person, but I guess more so, do you stack some cash on the sidelines, and do you see it as a buffer to between everyday expenses and emergencies that come up and your precious metal stack? Be interested to know. That's all I got for today. Have a good one. Until next time, keep on stacking and have a great day.